The 6th of May, Rabbi Furst, Havos Halavovos, Heshbon Hanefesh.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We're in the third of the 30 spiritual accountings the person to take seriously day after day on a regular basis, just like a good businessman. If he cares about his business, will take stock, inventory on a regular basis. Likewise, no less than a businessman, we should care about our spiritual inventory. So, with that, let's begin the third. Any volunteers to read?
I do.
Okay. Very good.
Uh, V'hashlishi, the third. Cheshbon ha'adam im nafsho v'hasischalu
Vistaklu.
v'histachlu b'godel tovas ha'elokim alav b'ma sheho ilu min haskel v'hakara im harava midos tovos v'chamodos v'nich bados. Okay, so spiritual accounting of a person. What is this word? V'histaklu?
There's there's a literally it means like to gaze intently or peer. You should be peers. There's an isser can't look at can't look at women. Not supposed to look at women, right? Well,
Right?
an isser is stockless. An isser is stockless. Not supposed to gaze intently at women. That
Ah,
when a person when a person's gaze, a person it's different. There are many different things when it comes to women. First of all, you're not supposed to walk behind the women. The Gemara says it's better to walk behind a lion than to walk behind a woman.
oh,
Yeah, look, what could the what could the lion do to you? Just chop off your head. That's the worst he can do to you. But a woman, who knows what she can do to a man? Shem Yerachim.
Mm. Just
Physically,
don't. Mm.
spiritually. So it's better to walk behind a lion than to walk behind a woman. You have a choice. Better to walk behind a lion. That's what the Gemara says. Then you're not supposed to look at women. Right? Not supposed to look at women. Now they're all over the place. First of all, you should know it's not. They weren't always all over the place. We live in a gullus, which the gullus we're in is run by the non-Jews, and the non-Jews in most societies, most cultures, and not all that, not in all cultures, right? Some cultures the women are uh, are reserved for their and tending to the home and to the children, which is very important. Because if a culture values the home, values the children, say they value the place of the mother and the wife in establishing the house and establishing the children, right? But if they have other things in mind, right, they value their tithes more than they value their home and more than they value their children's upbringing. So they value the tithes, so the women they run wild. So so a person's out in the midst of our gullus, and you can't look at women. Now, what's the exact prohibition about looking at women? Again, if there's a woman there, so you can you can look at her and not notice her. You cannot notice her at all, and you can notice her and look at her intently, right? So when I explain this to people, I usually use the two well-known acronyms, FBI and UFOs. You have two very popular things. UFOs very popular in the general public's imagination, and you have the FBI, which is very popular amongst the criminal population. So, what does UFOs and FBIs have to do with looking at women and not looking at women? So it goes like this: when you're faced with the approach of a woman, so if you pick up your eyes, you might remember the Avram Avinu. The pasuk says that Avram Avinu picked up his eyes, meaning he was
Hello.
in control of everything in his life, in his body, and he could picked up his eye. He literally picked up his eyes. He commanded his eyes to rise to see. Other than that, he wasn't interested in seeing things unless there was a reason to see them. And then he commanded his eyes to look and to see. So when you're involved with choosing to look at something or not, we're in the same way. We should command our eyes to look or not to look. Right? The difficulty is that unfortunately, many of us have been programmed instinctively just to respond to various different sensory inputs, data. So when a person senses that a woman's in his vicinity, depends how's he been trained. Has he been trained to look at her intently,
Mm,
or has he been trained to hide his eyes and cover his eyes and protect himself?
right.
So you have these two approaches. One is FBI and one is UFO. What's FBI? Female body inspector,
Wow.
meaning is this person a member of the FBI? He is a female body inspector. He sees a female. His job is he wants to really get a good, keen, perceptive look at this woman, right? And he's inspecting her just like he would be an FBI agent. He's committing her to memory. That's usher. That's forbidden. That's forbidden, right? Can't do that. The Torah says that's not what you're supposed to do. Lo sasur achrei levavichem achrei einechem. We say it once in the morning, once in the evening in Kriya Shema. Lo sasur achrei levavichem achrei einechem. That's what we call his stockless. He's FBI, female body inspector. On the other hand, the other extreme is UFO. UFO is unidentified female object. An unidentified female object that there was a female in his vicinity, but he never intently looked at her to the extent that he could ever identify her. Like nothing, like a ship passing, two ships passing in the night. Two ships passing in the night, a female passed by him, wasn't influenced by her, wasn't interested in her. He was successful. He passed his test. It's a tremendous thing. Tremendous rewards for not, mistakenly at women. Tremendous rewards. Maybe we can go into that another time. So anyway, in short, the stockless is to gaze intently. So to peer into the sub. In this case, if you're dealing intellectually, you're talking about it intellectually. You want to peer into the subject. You want to delve into the subject. So yistaklo bigodlo toivus elokim alav. The person should intently delve into the great benefits that Hashem is bestowing upon him. You should think about these things seriously with intent. Okay, you want to continue, Lou?
Okay, bima sheho ilu. With what? What is this word? Sheho ilu?
Bima, in what? It's the same it's the same word as aliyah. Aliyah is an elevation, right? And up, what they call this in this generation, they call it an upgrade, right? Right.
Min hasechel v'ha'akara v'ha'akara. From his intellect. What is this hakara?
Because hakara is consciousness. Is consciousness. A person, they say medically, a person, they write these bli hakara. Bli hakara is unconscious, right?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So his intellect and his consciousness, im harbe midos, with many characteristics, tovos, good characteristics. Vicha modos, what's that?
Well, you have you have midos toivos, va that's with a ches, chachmodos, v'nichbodos. So he should delve deeply into the great benefits that his um, intelligence, his seichel, and his consciousness have been elevated, along with many good characteristics, which chamodos, which are valuable and noble. Something's a chamudi. He's very cherished. Something's cherished. So what's things which are very cherished, and nichbad, a nichbad, the person is someone who's a nobleman. So and noble, so he has many. His seichel, his intelligence, and his consciousness have been elevated along with. It's not simply that he has seichel, not simply he has consciousness. Animals, most all living things, organisms, one-celled animals have consciousness. They're aware in some way of their environment. They are conscious. They respond to stimuli. They're conscious of their environment in some way. But nothing can compare to the human consciousness. What we're conscious and what we're intelligent with, our intelligence and our consciousness has been given to us with the elevation along with it, with many midas toivos, many good characteristics, which are cherished and noble.
Yesh lo bahem yisron al hachayim she'inam midvarim.
She'ena midabri.
She'enam midabrim. There are for him in them, what is Yisron?
Yisron are advantages, meaning a person along with the intelligence and the consciousness that he's been given, along with all those various different good qualities which are cherished and noble, there are even amongst them either more than that. He has the advantage over the Chaim She'enim Midarim. He has the advantage over those things over those life forms which do not speak. Meaning he didn't even he's now touching on the fact that we have the ability to speak, which is also something different than our intelligence and it's something different than our consciousness, meaning our ability to speak is a separate virtue that Hashem has blessed us with this ability to speak, right? Besides with our great intelligence and this and aside from our great consciousness, right? We have also the ability to speak.
So we have an advantage over uh life forms that don't speak.
Oh, don't you think so? We can use a telephone. Think about that. If humans couldn't talk, there'd be no need for telephones, right?
True.
Unless you, or well, maybe not, maybe not. Maybe they'd be pecking away. They peck away anyway with their text messages anyway. People stop talking to each other. Now they just peck away.
Well, I don't know if you were aware, but um, they have something called a guided missile. And
Yeah.
the way a guided missile works is that there's something in the end of the missile, the tip of the missile, that tells it where the target is.
Okay.
So my understanding is that the initial version of this, what they did was they had a screen in there that was connected to a camera, and it
Right.
showed what was in front of the missile. And they trained a chicken to peck when it saw a dark pattern in the picture.
Okay.
And so they put the chicken in the missile, and it would peck on the screen, and the screen would detect the pecking, and it would therefore direct itself at the target.
Okay. I hope they used American chickens instead of Chinese ones.
So you're not far off about being able to communicate by pecking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's also probably a testimony to the ingenuity of human beings. The human mind has a lot of ingenuity. Think about we think about there are many different ways to communicate. Talking is probably the one of the most common and could be maybe one of the most effective. But no, I mean you should know that sometimes you write a letter, you write emails to people, you write text messages to people, all kinds of different things, and now you can send voice messages. People don't even want to talk to anyone. They don't want to talk to anyone. I'll send them a voice message and they'll send me something back. Why don't you get on the phone and talk straight to straight? What do you have to get this little message in your 21 seconds and a half of a voice message? What are you talking? Talk to a person. No, not so we're very ingenuity, have a lot of ingenuity when it comes to communication. So yeah, but the fact that we can communicate, the fact that we speak, and it all stems really from the fact that we speak. The question, I think they've done experiments. I don't know how they turn out. That people who were deprived um, from human companionship when they were growing up, so their speech is backward, and also when it comes to reading and other forms of communication, it's also backwards. It's like a muscle that hadn't been used, hadn't been developed. Because when you're with people, you grow up amongst a family, right? You go amongst the friends. You grow up amongst classmates and such. So you're using your vocal skills and you're communicating. So that's the whole point of having things written down, is because you want to have something which is permanent. You want to write something else. You want something permanent. Speech before the tape recorder, at least, people would speak, but it wouldn't be permanent until now because you have recorders. So now it's permanent. But the way people speak is not necessarily the way they write. It's many times very different. A person will say the same thing, and want to get the same point across, you have to do it differently when you're writing as when you're speaking. But this is all a testimony, as I said, to human ingenuity. That aside from the fact that we have been given the basic ability to speak, communicate, but we've expanded it to communication in general. We have many different ways of communicating. So, yeah.
So,
Okay, so we have to, and this is one of the things we have to thank Kadosh Baruch Hu for. We have to um, realize that this is a very uh, special and exceptional quality and ability that we've been given, and we have to thank Kadosh Baruch Hu for giving it to us.
Shemo Shikasuv, Kemo Shikasuv, as it is written, uh, me leaf new, uh, may the most Eretz u Ma'of Hashemayim Yachmanu.
Someone said this is a pasuk, so let's try and look this pasuk up. I'll try and let me look it up and tell you where this pasuk can be found.
Oh, it's EO 3511.
Okay, very good. Thank you, man. Right. So let's see what it says here. Milifnei habehemos eretz, preceding the animals of the earth, over shemayim, and the birds of the skies. Nichmena, you are wise. Chachma, what we have wisdom. So what does this pasuk mean? So, so it said the Rashi on this pasuk. Rashi says, "Milafneinu lifneinu," from before you, "Milamdenu chachma yoser mibehemus." That Hashem is teaching us. Meaning, Rashi is attributing it to it. This wisdom is attributed to Hashem. The source of this wisdom is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Lamdenu, it teaches us, Hashem is teaching us wisdom, Yosim behemoths, more than from the wisdom that the behemoths have. Kolomer, it means, Chashvenu, God lanu, behemoths, uma'of. That we are, we've been chosen, and we've been um, exalted more than the animals and the birds. Okay, I mean, we have to bear that in mind, right? I mean, look, you have to ask a question here. This is a pasuk in Iyov, right? It's pasuk in
Mhm.
Tanakh, right? It's not there wasting our time, right? There must be something. There must be wisdom in this pasuk. It's not something you normally, meaning on your own, normally you wouldn't come to these conclusions. So we have to think about this. What does it mean? When you say Lamdenu Chachma Yosem Behemoths, that Hashem is teaching us wisdom more than that of the animals, right? Kolomer Hashemenu, that we considered more highly and we're exalted more than the animals and the birds. Now, The question is, without Eov saying this, without this being included in Tanakh, would we come to this conclusion on our own? Like one of the basic questions especially when you're learning psukim Tanakh, you have to think for yourself. One of the questions you have to pose to yourself when you're learning Tanakh, Torah, Ksubim, and Nevi'im and Kesubim, is what you're being taught now something which you would not have thought on your own, right? And in general, the answer should be yes. Because if you would have come to this conclusion on your own, it's a little bit difficult to explain why this has to be included in Tanakh, right? You know the Gemara. Ishkamzu, Nachum Ishkamzu. He darshened all the S's in the Torah, right? Until he came to Es Hashem Elokecha Tira, and then he stopped because he couldn't attach a specific meaning, understanding to the S of Kadosh Baruch Hu. But without going into that particular point, just mentioning his life's work. How many years he devoted to it, I'm not sure, but he devoted, I'm sure, many, many years and much energy to darshaning all the S's in the Torah, meaning he understood that even the simplest word, Aleph, Saf, right, in the Torah, if it's there in the Torah, it's there for a specific reason, and it's teaching us something specific. So much more so if you have a whole pasuk. So the question is, what is this? What would we think this pasuk is teaching us if we didn't, meaning if we didn't have it, or if we missed it some way? So by us now, we have the pasuk in Yub that we're now above and beyond the animals and the birds. Would isn't that seems to be pretty obvious, no? Okay, let's continue on.
V'chashav elu haya orum min hasechel v'hahakara. I don't know this word v'chashav.
From the word makshava, right?
Machshava.
Makshava is thought, right?
Thought. These are Irum is natural.
Ilum, if haya arumim meseichel v'hakar. Arumim is literally to be naked, right?
Right. So the thought is lacking in intelligence and consciousness.
Well, he should think to himself. He should think to himself. He should consider it. Consider. Ilu haya arum min haseichel v'hakar. If a person would be literally naked from intelligence and consciousness, if a person would have his intelligence and his consciousness stripped from him,
V'ho'ilu bahem Adam kemohu v'hakir yisron ma shehu bo al ma shehi bo. And he's elevated in them.
Well, Elilub Dehem Adam Kamohu. And let's say that someone would come and help him. Someone would come and help him.
What is for Hakir?
He would recognize.
No, he care.
Yisron. What's for Yisron?
The advantage.
The advantage.
You would recognize the advantage. Let's say for a moment, just a moment, that person would lose, how to show him he'd lose his marbles, as they used to say. He would lose his marbles and he'd become unconscious, right? Without a car, without consciousness. If you would be in that state, even for a short time, and let's say someone would come and revive him, and someone would come and help him regain his intelligence.
Hmm.
That would be an advantage to him.
You now recognize the advantage of these things, right? I mean, many times people, they don't recognize the true value of what they have. But if it would be taken away from them, even for a short time, they would now recognize the true value of it. I'm not sure. Most people probably had the experience. Sometimes has to show a person gets a cut on a finger or something like that. So he loses the use of his finger for a week or two, right? So all of a sudden you realize how important that finger is. Right? All of a sudden you can't button your shirt. All of a sudden you can't tie your shoes. All of a sudden you can't hold your knife and cut your steak the way you used to. Wow. I didn't realize that finger was so important. Right? I'm sure we've all had similar experiences to that. That's only a minor thing. That's just a finger. Right? So can you imagine how we take for granted? That's exactly what's being discussed here. We take for granted our intelligence. We take for granted our consciousness. So can you really imagine if a person would be deprived? He would be Oram. He would be deprived of these tremendous blessings Hashem has given him, and blessing of intelligence, the blessing of consciousness. If he would be deprived from those things, even for a short amount of time, how thankful he would be, and how much he would think about the importance of these things. All right.
Um, Hahi maspik lo kol yemei chayav umidas yamav lehios mis masmid behodoso ushvacho al ze tachas gemulo. And it would be sufficient for him all the days chayav of these that he's obligated. I mean, maybe of his life, all the days of his life,
Very good, very good.
and the characteristics of his days to be dedicated and thankful.
Right. Would it be sufficient for him? All of his days, all would it be sufficient? Must be, would it sufficient? Would it be sufficient for him all the days of his life? Umidis and Yomov, and like it's sort of like a breath, the length and breadth of his days of his life. Those masmid, well, those to be continually masmid to be that's a masmid. What's a masmid in Torah? Someone's continually learning Torah. Masmid, Bodoso, to be continually praising him. Yishavko and Hodos is to thank. I'm sorry. Well, Hodos in his thanksgiving would be continual in his. Would it be enough to be continually thankful to this person and praising this person all the days and of his life in comparison to the great goodness that he's done for him by giving him intelligence and consciousness. So a person can well imagine how grateful he would be if a person would restore to him his consciousness and his intelligence, if it would ever hospital and be lost, and how much he would spend time thanking him and praising him. So now apply that to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, because where did you get your intelligence? Where did you get your consciousness?
Also, even more so, Habura Yisparach. What's Habura?
Haboire is Baruch. Our blessed
the Creator, may he be blessed.
Yeah, our blessed Creator, right?
All the more so concerning the blessed Creator, there ein kates letuva so, that there is no end to his goodness, aleinu, upon us, velo tachlis lechasidav imanu. And there is no tachlis. Tachlis is purpose.
There's no limit.
No limit to his kindness, the kindness that he does with us. K'moshe Kasuv, as it is written, Rabos Asis Ata Hashem Elokei V'Gomer.
Right. Tachlis, we say we say in the I think the where is it? Where is it?
It's in Tehillim.
Yeah, but we also say it earlier
Oh,
we say Litachlis.
yeah, both. Asita.
Mhm, mhm.
Hmm. Asita. Hmm.
Yeah. We say that at the very beginning in Adon Olam, right? We say Adon Olam, Bli Reishis, Bli Tachlis, right?
Oh,
Lo
yes.
Ha'oz HaMisra, right?
Mhm.
You recognize that?
Yeah, without beginning, without end.
That's right. Tachlis. Tachlis. Good. Okay. Okay. Let's continue on. That
Uh,
yeah. Eh, Kol shekain haborei is bark, so much more so our blessed Creator. Asher ein kates l'tova, so there's no limit or end. There's no end to His benefits upon us. V'lo tachlis chasdov amenu, and there's no limits to the mercies that He places upon us. Kamosha kasev rabos asis at Hashem Elokai. Just wonder where that is that's in Tehillim. Um, uh, Ramos. Yeah, that's a pasuk in Tehillim. If you're interested, that's a pasuk in Tehillim, Perek Mem, pasuk Vav.
Tehillim and Hov, 46. What verse?
It is 6. It's chapter 40, Lou.
Chapter 40, verse 6.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Many things hast thou done, O Lord my God, even thy wondrous works and thy thoughts toward us. There is none to be compared unto you. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be told.
Right. So just to summarize this third Heshbon and Hanefesh, it's really it's really trying to tell us we should ask ourselves: are we being fair with the Kadosh Baruch Hu? That Hashem gives us our intelligence. He gives us our consciousness. Day in and day night, we go to sleep at night. We wake up, we say Modani, we're mamish, we're unconscious, right? Without intelligence, without nothing. We came into this world without intelligence, without consciousness. Hashem gives us all these things. Are we being fair with the Kadosh Baruch Hu? If there was a person, as he said, that gave a person intelligence, gave a person consciousness, wouldn't he thank him and be obligated to that person for his whole life? So where is our equity when we're dealing with the Kadosh Baruch Hu? Where is our thankfulness to Hashem? Where is our gratefulness to Hashem? That's something which a person has to work to try and inculcate himself with these concepts, with these ideas. So tomorrow, before we go to the fourth section, we're going to try and link this Heshbon to something we say or do on a daily basis, so we can always try and bear in mind where this is going to go. So you give thought to where this might be attached to particularly to our davening. It's very good if you can attach these 30 Heshbonos to our davening, because that way when you're davening, at least for momentarily, maybe for at least a split second, you can try and inculcate into yourself these different obligations that we have to Hashem. Okay, let's stop here. And in the meantime, listen, for tomorrow, you can think on your own. If you want, think where would this be a good place to insert somewhere along the davening these thoughts. Just as we are going through our davening somewhere or another, where would be a good place to insert this machshava. Okay, let's take a break and we'll continue on with Mishnah Bereshit.
Thank you, Rabbi.